Healing Through Breathing and the Sun by Peter DEUNOV. Translation and Audiobook Edition 2023 by David DeAngelis. All rights are reserved. Air is the repository of divine energy. It is the greatest reservoir in which life has stored its energies. First, the air, the carrier of divine thoughts, passes into the respiratory system where it is transformed, and from there it goes to the brain through the blood. So, man does not receive divine thoughts directly from the brain. It is the air that is the main carrier of them. Under the present conditions of life, if man is deprived of air, he will not be able to pick up any thoughts. In this sense, breathing is a sacred act. That is why one must learn to breathe well in order to be able to pick up the divine thoughts contained in the air and then transmit them to the brain. Any divine energy that descends must first pass through the respiratory system and from there go up into the brain and then descend into the heart. Everyone's breathing is different and corresponds to man's degree of evolution. Usually the sick person breathes rapidly like animals, while the healthy man breathes regularly, calmly, and according to his personal development. Whatever illness you are suffering from, seek help in deep breathing. There is no disease that cannot be cured through breathing. A long life is the result of deep, regular breathing. Breathing itself depends on right, positive thinking and the quality of emotions. Breathe deeply and think that divine blessing comes to man through the air. Breathing is a dual process, physiological and psychological. Its ultimate goal, as a psychological process, is the purification of thought. The lungs represent a complicated laboratory within which multiple energies come together. Prana from the air penetrates the lungs and helps ozonize the blood, even where air hardly reaches. In the blood thus purified, elements of life are deposited. Since air contains some light and prana, when he breathes, man receives these two elements that are indispensable to the blood. In addition to the stomach, humans feed through the lungs and brain where they receive nutrition superior to physical nutrition. In the future, human beings will feed only through the lungs and brain. When humans become ill, their respiration speeds up. This fact is especially observed in people in whom the pulmonary constitution is weak. They consciously accelerate their deficient respiration, believing in this way to help themselves. In reality, their condition becomes even more aggravated. Normal breathing should correspond to the natural rhythm, the heart rhythm. It is this rhythm that is good for health. Good breathing depends on the quality of the air taken in and how long it is retained. The longer air is retained in the lungs, the more effective it is. The success of one's endeavors also depends on this. Some adepts have gone so far as to hold air for half an hour and even an hour. Those who have lost their balance breathe too fast. When breathing is rapid, blood is oxygenated very quickly, and its purging is partial. This is why most people have more venous blood, that is, impure blood. Because of this too rapid oxygenation, combustion in the body is done irregularly. Some of the materials that are intended for it cannot be burned, and they accumulate in the arteries and veins in the form of residues. In addition to the lungs, which have a direct relationship with the air, man possesses 7 million pores through which he is bound to it. If a man does not breathe well, the skin on his face and hands ages prematurely. Wrinkles are due to liver imbalance and poor breathing. Concentration of thought is related to breathing. The deeper a man breathes, the more easily he concentrates. For each man, there are particular breathing methods. Everyone can choose the ones that suit him, recommended by his teacher or inner doctor. Learn to listen to your inner physician, that is, the divine that dwells within you. Now, when I talk about deep breathing, I do not intend to recommend special exercises as the Hindus do, since they are not applicable to Europeans. I simply tell you to breathe deeply while striving to maintain a regular rhythm. You have to know one thing. Many of the Hindu rules and methods do not correspond to the rules of universal living nature. For example, if you apply for us Westerners the science of breathing used by Hindus, the results obtained will be contrary and negative. Why? Because it was acquired during the descent of humanity, that is, in accordance with the law of involution. Hindus work intensively on deep and full breathing, thus accumulating a lot of energy that Europeans would not know how to use. In the end, instead of doing themselves good, they would do themselves harm. It is said in the Holy Scriptures, "And God breathed into his nostrils a breath of life, and man became a living being." Therefore, by inhaling the air, man received divine life. That is why, when he is in trouble, he must breathe in, since air is a carrier of electricity and magnetism which, passing through the nose, renews the nervous system. Through breathing, you can force your brain to think right and your stomach to work normally. Irregular breathing is at the root of many diseases. You have pain in your feet because you are not breathing properly. The same for your head, heart, or spine. Rapid and shallow breathing is dangerous. It leads to various diseases. The life-giving force that heals is prana diffused in the air. There is a force between love and life. It is prana. It renews thought. When you breathe, think you absorb prana from all your cells. Do not think about your wife, your children, what is of secondary interest. Leave aside your oxen, your bees, your nutrition, your daily worries. Through the concentration of your thinking, you can heal any illness to protect yourself from the maladies that threaten you. Sicknesses move like bullets. By moving out of their trajectory, even slightly, they will pass without hitting you. The more you hold air in your lungs, the more energy you receive. Thus, even polluted, the air will have no negative influence. When the number of breaths decreases, life is prolonged, and vice versa. If you get to 1 breathing per minute, you have already acquired a lot. Breathe joyfully, lovingly, your face smiling, take good posture. Your spine should form a parallel line with that which joins the center of the sun to the center of the earth. Your chest forward and not withdrawn inward. By breathing in this way, you connect with the rhythm of nature and strengthen your bodies and spirit. There are plant cells in the lungs that need carbonic acid. Deep breathing with retention facilitates the accumulation of carbonic acid, strengthens plant cells, and prolongs their life in the lungs. If it makes them stronger, man is healthy. Health is linked to conscious breathing, which is why at least 3 times a day, in the morning, at noon, and at night before going to bed, man should consecrate 10 to 15 minutes of breathing and do exercises. He must give thanks for the air absorbed as well as for the good he has received from it. And this is conscious breathing. Breathe deeply to receive as much life-giving prana as possible. It contains different properties: physical, emotional, mental. Without prana, thought cannot form, emotions cannot manifest, and will cannot act. Each person, in accordance with his or her development, will receive what he or she needs and express his or her potential. When breathing, man must feel that air is an invaluable commodity. Through his own lungs, man binds himself to love. He who loves at the same time expands his own lungs. When I talk about regular wrists, rhythmic beating of the heart, the question immediately arises: what is good and deep breathing? Almost everyone breathes poorly. One inhales and exhales air only with the upper part of the lungs. Because of this shallow and weak breathing, there is a lack of strength to completely reject the air outside. As a result, some of the stale air remains in the lungs and forms residue. If one wants to regularize one's blood circulation, it is essential to first inhale air deeply, hold it for some time in the lungs, and then slowly expel it. When man practices breathing properly, he renews himself and frees himself from disease states, both physical and psychic. There is prana that can be assimilated through the left nostril and prana that can be assimilated through the right nostril. Through the left nostril, one receives the magnetic current related to the solar plexus and called solar current. Through the right nostril, one receives the electric current related to the brain and called the lunar current. When you want to develop your intellect, you have to inhale air through the right nostril and exhale through the left nostril. When you want to develop your brain, you have to inhale through the left nostril and exhale through the right nostril. By alternating breathing through the left nostril, then through the right nostril, you harmonize the 2 currents and assimilate electricity and magnetism in a balanced manner. So breathe deeply and consciously. If you are ill-disposed, sad, breathe deeply. If you have pain in your spine, in your back, breathe deeply. If you have pain in your feet, in your hands, breathe. Stomachache, headache, bellyache, always breathe deeply. Breathing exercises. 1. Inhaling. Bring your arms very slowly to the side and horizontally. Holding the air, extend the movement to vertical. Exhaling, pass your hands behind your head and bring your arms down to their starting position. 2. Breathing in. Raise your arms slowly in front of you to above your head. The gaze accompanies the movement. Hold the air for a moment. Exhale slowly, bringing the arms down gently. The gaze follows the movement all the way down. 3. Starting position. Both arms are horizontal to each side of the body, palms open upward. Inhalation. Inhale slowly by bending all fingers, thumb over middle finger. At the same time, imagine that with the air you receive divine love penetrating everything, including the air, for God penetrates everything, for God is love. Retention. Hold the air as long as possible, thinking that you are assimilating the love that penetrates all of nature. During retention, slowly fold your arms, keeping your hands still and bringing them in front of your chest. Exhalation. Slowly fold your arms at each side of your body to the horizontal, then slowly open your hands. During the exhalation, think about sending the light, which comes from your love, to the whole world. 4. Inhalation on 16 times, retention on 16-time units, exhalation on 32-time units. Do this exercise 3 times a day, in the morning, at noon, and in the evening, 6 times in a row. Inhalation is done through the left nostril and exhalation through the right nostril. Practice this exercise for 2 to 3 months. 5. Breathing exercises aim to increase air retention. In this exercise, we do not use time units. One must inhale slowly and deeply, retain air as long as possible, and exhale as slowly as possible. The time of retention can be increased by 1 minute, 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes, etc. 6. When you are nervous, irritated, angry, do the following exercise. With the index finger of your right hand, close the right nostril and inhale through the left nostril, counting 7 time units. Hold it for 10 times, then close the left nostril and exhale in 9 times. This exercise helps to regularize the nervous system, calm the brain, and strengthen memory. If you do this exercise in the morning before noon, inhale through the left nostril and exhale through the right. In the evening, inhale through the right nostril and exhale through the left. Do this exercise 21 times a day, 7 in the morning, 7 at noon, and 7 in the evening. Recommendations: 1. During the breathing exercises, you can mentally utter certain formulas. Example: I thank you, Lord, with all my heart, with all my spirit, with all my strength, for the blessings you have given me. Say this formula the time of a complete exercise: inhalation, retention, exhalation. 2. You can mentally recite the Lord's Prayer during complete breathing. Do this exercise 10 times in a row, in the morning, at noon, and in the evening. 3. On inhalation, mentally say the words strength, life, health 3 times in a row, so also during retention and exhalation. Repeat this exercise 10 times in a row in the morning, at noon, and in the evening. 4. Inhale mentally, saying the word life. Hold the air while thinking strength and exhale with the word health. Do this exercise slowly, calmly in accordance with a steady rhythm, meditating on the words life, strength, and health. The living energy that regenerates our bodies comes through the spinal column. The spinal cord possesses the power to absorb prana from the air and transmit it to the whole organism. Take note of the formulas and mentally pronounce them in the 3 phases of breathing: inhalation, retention, exhalation. Example 1. Inhalation. Thank you, Lord, for the divine life that you have spread in the air and that we receive through the air. Retention. I receive divine life through the air. It penetrates all my cells and brings strength, life, and health. Exhalation. This divine life strengthens me and I manifest it through my acts. Through divine life, one understands prana. One must powerfully imagine prana as a drop that is transmitted from cell to cell, organ to organ, and penetrates everything. Example 2, inspiration. May God's name be glorified in me. Retention. May God's kingdom and his justice be established in me. Exhalation. May God's will be done. You can do this exercise 5 times by inhaling through the right nostril and exhaling through the left nostril. Then 5 times by inhaling through the left nostril and exhaling through the right nostril. Example 3. Inspiration. Lord, I thank you that you come into me. Retention. Lord, I thank you that you dwell in me. Exhalation. Lord, I thank you that you give me your blessing. Example 4. Inhale through the left nostril. The right nostril is closed. At the same time, utter the formula, only divine love is love. Hold the air for a moment and start breathing in while uttering the same formula. Do this exercise 3 times a day, in the morning, at noon, and in the evening, when you are well disposed and when you have time. Repeat each exercise 3 to 10 times in a row. Healing through the sun. The energy of our physical, mental, and even moral life comes from the sun. It is it that brings life. Only solar energy can restore human strength and health. There is no disease that cannot be cured through the sun. The sunbeams represent millions and millions of intelligent beings who come to Earth as if on an expedition. Each of these beings deposits its signature on the faces of humans. The sun is the life-giving source of energy for the entire solar system. In relation to the Earth, solar energy is positive. It develops into positive and negative electricity and positive and negative magnetism. Earth energy is negative in relation to the sun. Actually, the Earth possesses 2 kinds of energy, but mainly negative energy. The sun also possesses these 2 energies, but mainly the positive energy. Life on Earth is produced through the meeting of these 2 energies. The mediator that connects, transforms these energies is called ether. It spreads through space and penetrates the Earth. Spiritualists call it living plasma. Mystics call it spirit. The sun contains in it all medicines. No disease resists the action of its rays. To cure himself, man must pass the sun's rays through different prisms, both material and imagined by his mind. Solar energy descends to the Earth as a broad stream, enveloping it from the North Pole to the South Pole and back to the sun. It is transmitted to plants through the life-creating plasma. When plants feel the manifestation of this potential energy, they prepare themselves and begin to form buds. When the energy intensifies, they blossom, striving to assimilate it totally to make it bear fruit. If man finds that his organism lacks a particular energy, if he is awakened, he looks for it in the sun. He knows that the sun can give him all the energy he lacks. The energies that the Earth receives from the sun are considerably modified by penetrating into the Earth's inlets, as the latter absorb all the nutritive elements. All that remains, then, are the unusable energies which, thus modified, contribute nothing for our development, and that is why they are sent back from the Earth toward cosmic space. Later, through specific pathways, they return toward the sun, which sends them back toward the central sun for further transformation and to restore them to their initial rhythm. The energy the Earth picks up from the sun can be compared to arterial blood, and the energy it repels to venous blood. Our sun plays the role of a heart. This role is even better expressed through the central sun. Just as impure blood from the tissues comes toward the heart, and from there returns toward the lungs to be purified, so the Earth's energies return toward the sun to regain their initial rhythm. From midnight to noon, the Earth is negative, in fact, in certain places only so mostly receptive. From noon to midnight it is positive and gives the most. From midnight, the Earth begins to send negative energy into cosmic space. Then it receives positive energy from the sun. The process of rejecting the Earth's positive energy back into cosmic space begins in the afternoon. When the Earth has rejected enough of it, it again becomes negative. That is, it mostly receives energies. We are a part of the Earth's organism. When the latter receives, our organism also receives. This is precisely why the first rays of the sun act with more intensity, since at that time our organism is more receptive to their energies. In the morning, the life-giving prana is always more abundant than at noon, and the organism absorbs the most powerful positive energies until noon at the latest. After that, the ebb begins, reaching a maximum as the sun sets. Thus, during the 24 hours of a day, solar energy goes through the following cycles. From midnight to noon, influx of solar energy, with the maximum at the rising of the sun. From noon to midnight, reflux of terrestrial energies. An hour before its rising, the sun exerts a psychic influence on our cells and gives a new impetus for their work. It is before the rising of the sun that the rays refracting through the atmosphere act mainly on the brain. At the time of sunrise, they arrive in a direct line and act more on the respiratory system and sensitivity. At noon, they exert an influence on the digestive system. This is why the healing power of the sun's rays differs according to the time of day. Before sunrise, it is good for the nervous system and brain. At sunrise, for the improvement of the respiratory system, and between 9 a.m. and noon for the digestive system. In general, after noon, solar energy has very few therapeutic properties. This is the period when the absorption capacity of the Earth is the weakest, and it is the same for the human organism. Attending the rising of the sun means consciously binding oneself to it to give its forces the opportunity to circulate in the organism. If man is able to bind himself to the sun on the physical plane, he simultaneously binds himself to the other two suns, the sun of the spirit world and the sun of the divine world. If man does not witness the rising of the physical sun, he cannot be in good health. This law is known not only to human beings, but also to all living beings. The cause of sunburn is as follows. Our thoughts, feelings, and desires produce a kind of evaporation that forms an opaque deposit around the earth. This is why the sun's rays are refractory and burn our skin. If you study the influence of light, you will find that at certain times of the day, the sun's rays are beneficial to the earth, mainly in the morning until noon. At other times, these rays are not beneficial. They are called the black rays or negative rays. To avoid their influence, beware of sleeping during the course of the day and precisely when the sun's rays are active. Otherwise, you will feel ill-disposed, tired, your spirit weak. You can expose yourself to the sun's rays at all times of the day as long as you have a focused, positive spirit and are able to receive only the positive rays. Concentrate well, but be careful not to fall asleep. The black, negative vibrations of the sun are also mixed with earth vibrations that act negatively on the organism. Until you are well acquainted with the laws of reflection, beware of these vibrations. This is why it is recommended to expose yourself to the sun in the morning hours and no later. Beware of the rays in the afternoon. The best time for treatment through the sun's rays is between 8 and 10 in the morning. When the weather is dark, treat yourself in your room. For example, treat your wounds with olive oil or onion, but in good weather, expose them to the sun's rays. If there is a good exchange between the solar energies and your own, you will always be healthy. Only healthy people can understand the ideas of the new teaching. Christ recommends the sun as a method of healing. God put the sun in the sky for you to receive its light and warmth, but you are looking for doctors in order for them to prescribe treatments through artificial light. That is not a treatment. By exposing yourself every day to the sun for half an hour, but consciously, with the participation of your thoughts, you will receive more than from the remedies you seek in books and from doctors. If you are stricken with paralysis, whether of a leg or an arm, if your eyes or memory become weakened, all there is due to insufficient energy, insufficient circulation of blood and nutrients to these organs. The awakened and conscious man will not say, "It is God's will," but will go to work to get what he needs and thus accumulate energy to heal. Failing to get a tan shows defective health that the sun cannot heal because good exchanges between the sun and man are necessary. The obtained tan shows that the sun absorbs all your residues, all the impurities of dense matter. If you do not get a tan, this matter remains in the body and creates disease states. If you get a good tan, it shows that the sun, by giving you its energies, has placed its signature. The sun cannot heal the man who does not possess gold in his blood. As much gold you have in your blood as you can possess externally. The amount of outward gold is proportional to the gold contained in the blood. When the blood contains gold, the body is healthy. Thinking is clear, feelings are noble. Gold is the condensed solar energy that Hindus call prana. When the sun rises, about 10 minutes is enough to receive what is indispensable for the body. Do not look directly at the sun for more than about 10 seconds as you risk ruining your eyes. Its light is not bad, but too much. It is strong for the retina that is not used to this intensity. Knowing these things, you will be able to receive a lot of energy from the sun, and you will be able to heal from every disease. If you know how to use the energy from the sun, you will be able to act on the grains of wheat until they grow as big as eggs and even more. If you know how to use the energy introduced into the grains of wheat, what work you can accomplish. You have to study the energies that come from the sun. In being aware that at the time of the rising of the sun, you receive more divine love and divine life, the sun rays will exert a better therapeutic action on you. If you are not connected through thought, if you are not present, the rising of the sun becomes a mechanical process that will not bring great things to you. Our body is composed of billions of cells that possess, like the Earth, the property of capturing the sun's rays, transforming them and retaining only the prana necessary for their regeneration, their healing. If you are ill-disposed, go out, expose your back to the sun, and you will receive from it what no philosophical thought can give you. When you take a sun bath, it is preferable that you are dressed in white or light green, since these colors are very beneficial. What is important is perspiration. When you want to heal yourself through the sun in the open air to cause perspiration, cover yourself with a waterproof fabric or dress. It is necessary to concentrate your thoughts, to bind yourself to beneficial nature so that it will heal you. Sunbathing in the mountains is preferable because at altitude the rhythm of solar energies is not unbalanced by the clouds of astral thoughts enveloping the city. According to the seasons, the sun's rays act differently. In spring, they have a greater healing capacity since the negative Earth captures them better. Starting on March 22nd, the Earth gradually becomes positive until summer, when it is already very positive. During this period, the sun's rays act more weakly. For regeneration, the best epoch begins on March 22nd and continues throughout April and May until June 22nd. From that date, growth stops. Some days in September, the power of living energy is as effective as that of May. Take advantage of the sun's rays at that time. You will also notice the presence of luminous beings around you. Many diseases can be cured through solar energy. Moreover, it is proven that there is a propitious time for the healing of each disease. Some are easily eliminated in May, others in June, July, etc. Between 8 and 9 a.m., the action of the sun is most healing. At sunrise, the rays are very beneficial for anemic people. Around noon, they are too strong and do not act well on the body. There is also a certain angle under which one must expose the back to best benefit from solar action. By changing this angle, one will not benefit from the intelligence of the sun's rays. When we talk about the sun, we are not only talking about the physical sun, but also about the spiritual sun, as a manifestation of the forces endowed with intelligence, as an expression of the beings bearing love and wisdom. In the future, when human beings come to this knowledge, they will treat diseases only with the sun's rays. They will know which rays are appropriate for a given disease or defect and how to make use of them. Under the influence of the sun, man's cosmic consciousness will awaken. The energies coming out of the sun possess great reserves of living and healing forces. If one wants to take advantage of them consciously, man must expose his back to the rays in the morning and even before the rising of the sun. The energies he receives at that time are equal to the energies he would have received by exposing himself all day to the sun. Even in cloudy weather, you can go out before sunrise, concentrate your thoughts, meditate by turning toward it. Clouds only prevent you from seeing the sun, but its life-giving energies are present and pass through everything. No obstacle can prevent the penetration of the sun's rays. If you suffer from eczema, if you start losing your hair, if you have rheumatism, if your abdomen is swollen, build yourself a glassed-in sun terrace, of course if you have the means. Strip naked to the waist, stretch out, your head to the north and your feet to the south. For half an hour, expose your chest to the sun, but protect your head. Then turn over with your back and stay like this for half an hour. You can continue in this way, alternating back and chest until you cause good perspiration. If you can take 20, 30, 40 such baths, all illnesses and indispositions will disappear. Thus, you can expose your whole body, provided it is before 10 a.m. If these sun baths cause a reaction on your spine, your brain, your lungs, your whole body will benefit. The brain is like a battery. If it starts to receive well and fill up with the solar energies, then they will spread to all parts of the body, which will gradually heal. The more sunlight you receive, the more your gentleness will increase, and magnetism will develop. When man opens his own hands, palms face to the sun, his whole body can warm up. Go out every morning between 7 and 8 o'clock, expose your back to the south first, then a little to the north, and a little to the east. Direct your thoughts toward the Lord and say the formula, Lord, enlighten my intellect, give health to all human beings and with them, also to me. Start thinking about the most beautiful things you know. By having this experience for 1 year, you will notice 99% benefits. The good influence of the sun on man is expressed through the quality of one's arterial blood. The sun elevates thoughts and feelings, that which purifies the blood. Certain diseases are not treated with any medicine but heal under the gentle influence of sunlight. For example, all swellings and growths will disappear in 2 or 3 months. When man is connected to God, the divine light penetrates him. The bumps and tumors subside until they disappear. The best surgeon I know is nature, the sun rays. It perfectly dissects and removes only the rotten flesh without touching that which is healthy. If you want to heal yourself, expose your back to the sun's rays very early in the morning. If you want to acquire inner peace, expose the back to the hot sun, face turned to the east. I often tell you that man must learn to converse with light. You have back pain, expose yourself to the sun, think about sunlight, what it contains, and the pains will disappear. All diseases of the intellect come from insufficiency of light, those of the heart from insufficiency of heat, those of the soul from insufficiency of truth. A person who becomes ill must link to the energies of the sun and moon. If she cannot do this directly, let her use the plants and minerals capable of transforming these energies. There is a special way to catch sunlight, not only through the eyes. On the other hand, do not look at the sun when it is very strong, but only at its rising. Very few people know how to use light, air, and water well. Most only breathe with their lungs and ignore the astral body and the etheric double through which one can also breathe. Expose your back to the sun. Your indisposition will disappear, whatever the cause. If it is due to negative thoughts, expose your back to the south and your face to the north. You have a cold, or have caught cold feet, then turn your back to the sun to the south. If the energies that caused your indisposition are positive, expose your face to the south and your back to the north. The sun's rays heal all illnesses. Healing through colors. Every disease is curable through light rays. Red, blue, yellow, orange, violet, and according to the disease, choose a color. For you, the important thing is not to live in the different colors, but in the energies of these different colors. He who wants to transform his life must bind himself to the light itself and then to its energy. You will find the most beautiful colors in plants. They represent the greatest artistic display. They are pages from the divine book. The external, visible light is the result of the thoughts of the higher entities. They come from their eyes. As for animals, they receive the light that we project. The effects of color depend on their vibration. The more intense the vibration of a color, the better the result. When you are unwell, you need to know why, which colors you are in, and which one can restore you. Light manifests through vibration, but vibration is still not light. Although thought is manifested through the brain, it is not the brain which creates thought. Man recognizes only 7 colors of light, without assuming that there are still 5 to be discovered. On Earth, man would have the ability to see 12 colors of light. The more yellow rays there are in the brain, the healthier man's thoughts are. When one's thinking is not awakened, man is deprived of yellow rays. The first 3 rays of the spectrum influence psychic life. The next 3 influence spiritual life. Through the spiritual life, man's awakened intelligence is understood, which includes the consciousness of what is happening in him, in both physical life. Before becoming ill, each person should undergo the light rays. The 7 rays represent 7 worlds of cosmic intelligence, each sending its own light ray. All 7 colors represent the solar spectrum. The stronger the color, the closer to us is the world it represents. According to the 7 colors of the rainbow, we can recognize which field we are heading into. What is the dominant color on Earth? Green. All beings on Earth are immersed in the color green. At the same time, we are connected to the planets and the sun, as well as the beings that inhabit it. Scientists are beginning to understand that each color has a definite role. For example, green is the color of matter. Red is an active color. It is more related to the animal world. Orange is the color of extreme individualism. The colors that correspond to the evolution of humans in our time are light blue and light yellow. On the other hand, the red ray is also composed of 7 shades, each with its own vibratory intensity and different numbers of vibrations. The man who possesses a well-developed eye is able to recognize the 7 different shades of the color red and consciously use them. When they are negative, he can turn them into positive. The shades of colors represent a book to be deciphered and interpreted. He who can differentiate the 7 shades of red and use each of them in accordance with their properties will arrive at perfect well-being. Are you ill? Your illness is due to an insufficiency of light in your body. How to heal it? By receiving the light that is indispensable. Each disease will heal through red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet light. You will choose the color according to the disease. If you suffer from insufficiency or excess of light in your organism, you are exposed to the imbalance that will manifest on both the physical and psychic planes. The 7 rays of light exist in the different worlds, in different octaves, and they differ through their action and meaning. In the physical world, they signify one thing. In the other worlds, other things. In its lower manifestation of the octave, red light expresses the struggle, the violence of the elements. All beings who, in one way or another, have a reserve of this light in their blood are extremely active and brutal. Cold is the sign of a weak amount of light. Behind ordinary light, there are energies of a higher origin, and behind them there is an intelligence. Pure red color is able to produce life, vitality, and joy of living. Pure orange color gives noble individualism in the service of God. Impure, it causes doubt and disbelief. Pure yellow brings balance to feelings, peace, silence, intelligence, but in its lower manifestations, it causes affected feelings such as greed. Pure green gives birth to everything. In its lower expression, it promotes attachment to material things and feelings of preservation. Clear light blue gives faith, an elevation, a broadening of feelings to the most sublime. If it lacks purity, it brings doubts, vanity. The color sea blue brings calmness, solidity, stability, determination. In its impure shade, instability. Pure violet is related to the spirit force needed to realize higher purposes. In its impure expression, this force is used for personal interests. Light speaks to man simultaneously in 7 different languages that correspond to the 7 colors of light. The one who understands all these languages is healthy, omniscient, full of strength. The sick, the ignorant, the weak can heal through the rays of light since each is related to the specific energies of the human organism. Thus, the red ray is related to the energies of the heart, the orange to the energies of the intellect, the green to the energies of the will, the yellow to the energies of the soul, the blue to the powers, the forces of heaven, the violet to the forces of the spirit. Many people suffer and are addicted to drugs, alcohol, wine, tobacco, etc. In psychic life, there are also intoxicating things such as certain thoughts and feelings that have the same effect as alcohol. He who does not distinguish them absorbs them and becomes ill. He suffers until the moment he gets rid of them. Sometimes the cause of illness is caused simply by the lack of a certain color in man. If he lacks the red color of love, the yellow of wisdom, or the blue of truth, he will definitely get sick. Colors can be carried in the physical as well as the psychic organism. The more intelligent a man is, the brighter his light is. If his intelligence decreases, his light is tinged with a bluish hue, then a faint yellowish hue, and so on. Through color, you judge the level of human intelligence. When you consider the heart where the center of love is located, you see a color of a very sweet pink hue. At the same time, you detach an irradiation of a pleasant sweet color. Finally, for that which is the will, there emanates from man a white light that is the color of virtues. Between the 3 main colors, bright, white, and pink, interpenetrate the other colors. This set of colors is called the human aura, through which the clairvoyant recognizes man's level of spiritual and intellectual development. The color red affects man's aura and makes him active. Orange influences private life and makes man individualistic. Yellow brings space and calm to the intellect. As they become darker and darker, colors change their specificity. For example, blue can be considered as the basis of spiritual life, but somber blue incites sadness and promotes soul worries. Light colors, light yellow and light blue, calm the nervous system. The color green binds to growth by regularizing magnetic and electrical currents in the human organism. He who wants to grow, to be in good health, must bind to the color green. Violet relates to the will. Here is what I recommend for healing and rejuvenation. Buy a prism 1/2 meter long and 20 centimeters wide, install it in your room, and focus your attention on one color, according to your illness. If you suffer from anemia, mentally isolate the red color of the spectrum and imbue yourself with it for about 10 days. If your stomach is disturbed, take the green color of the spectrum. If your nervous system is, focus on the color blue. The colors of light have the power to heal all diseases. Work with the colors with their different shades as suitable methods to heal diseases, but also to provide the energies that your body lacks. Not everyone needs the same energies, which is why we are drawn to different colors. If you do not possess objects that link you to the respective colors, work with your thoughts by saying words that awaken images in you that evoke that color. For example, if you say blue, imagine both somber blue and light blue. The somber color is that of the depths, which is why it leads you downward, to the valleys of life. The light blue is reminiscent of the sky, the summits. It leads your thoughts very high to the mountaintops. Each color causes different spiritual states. He who has developed too acute a sensitivity will suffer from neurasthenia. He must use the blue color of light by mentally pouring blue rays of light onto his head, chest, and stomach every morning. In general, man must direct colored light rays to his organs in order to balance energy currents, since energy blockages are produced in certain places in the body that bring abnormalities. So, work by pouring into the body light rays, whether blue, yellow, or others. You can receive them from the sun, but you must first employ the prism with the help of which you will get the pure colors of the spectrum on the wall. Next, you will focus your attention, for example, on the blue color and try to introduce it into yourself. Then you will close your eyes to try to visualize that color in order to impregnate your brain with it. After doing more such exercises, one will be able, through one's will, to reproduce the chosen color and come to heal oneself. As you do all these experiences, at first you will notice a great darkness in your brain. After a while, as on a screen will appear like a sunrise rising on the horizon, a small light will appear in your brain and gradually grow until it becomes so intense that it will be able to heal the disease. Purity is the best remedy against all diseases. The main hue underlying life, red, cannot be acquired otherwise than through purity, which is its conductor. The color red brings the materials needed to ground life. The visible red color is merely a shadow of the true red light. The red of the rainbow is not yet the basic red color. Red will bring you joy, light, strength. If you can grasp it, you will get a considerable contribution of the beneficial forces. The red light brought into the body of an anemic contributes to the multiplication of his own red blood cells and the increase of his vitality. Introduce orange light into man, and he will become independent, begin to think freely. Introduce green, he will begin to build, to create. In each color, nature has hidden a very particular kind of forces. Knowing this, the awakened man can acquire those he lacks. Through orange light, one can succeed in giving one's face a beautiful and healthy expression. There is no better cosmetic than the action of red light on the body. There are no simpler and more natural means than the color red to improve the state of health and acquire vitality. In contrast, red on the lips, creams, powders clog pores, atrophy cells, and damage them. One can use certain powders only on the irritated skin of an infant, but not on that of a healthy man. The face should be beautiful, expressive, and radiant. Until man comes to enter the red light, he is exposed to multiple states of disease. If he is not fit to receive the orange light, he loses his autonomy. If he does not receive green light, his growth stops. Poor reception of yellow light blocks mental evolution. In the same way, when blue light is received poorly, spiritual understanding is distorted by it. The lack of violet causes the loss of willpower. The color white, which is the basis of good health, brings well-being in man, while the color black brings negative states, pessimism. When a man is ill, he should wear white. Let him change colors often, since they give movement to life and influence in a different way. All shades of the color range should be used. Also, one must know how long to stay in the vibration of each color, since exceeding the time needed in one color may cause saturation. Black is the color of rest, of concentration. After working all day, man should enclose himself and give nothing outside himself. Black is not a bad color. From a psychological point of view, it can have a beneficial action, as it preserves energy. When someone is very nervous, it is recommended that they wear black clothes so as not to dissipate their energy. It is good to have children wear white clothes because they possess a lot of energy that they project around them. If the heart is sick, if thinking is disturbed, to establish balance, let the red ray penetrate the body. In case of liver imbalance, you must know how to introduce the green ray. All colors can be picked up through the prism. Behind every ray of light is a force of nature's spirit. If red light is in excess and the other colors are lacking, humans are predisposed to anger. When suffering from headaches, eye aches, rheumatism, or other diseases, have experiences with light rays to see how they affect the body. There are numerous ways to heal diseases, but healing through light rays is one of the most effective. Do you want to get rid of a certain defect? Pass bright pink and yellow colors through your brain. Bright luminous colors such as light blue and light yellow, for example, calm the nervous system. Bright green regularizes magnetic and electrical currents in both nature and the human organism. Fear is a weakness that comes from the lower intelligence. If it is very strong in someone to heal themselves, the use of the color orange is recommended as a means of harmonizing forces. You are discouraged, in a state of mental confusion, use the color yellow. Get the yellow ray out of the prism and try to feel it shining in your intellect. Blue brings calmness. Sky blue is especially beneficial to the nervous system. He whose faith is weak must evoke the color blue to eliminate unbelief. Strength of character comes from the violet. Use the pink light when you are unwell and the bright red to gain health. It is not recommended to observe a particular light color for a long time. It would be good to carry a small notepad with you and hide 7 silk threads between the pages, corresponding to the colors of the spectrum. According to your indisposition, cast a glance at one of the colored threads in relation to it. Nature heals through colors. I tell you this, in the same way that human beings dress in clothes of a certain color, so every feeling or act is clothed in different colors. You listened, Healing Through Breathing and the Sun by Peter DEUNOV. Translation and Audiobook Edition 2023 by David DeAngelis. All rights are reserved.